When Virat Kohli goes out to bat, point number one, is he going to go out thinking that aaj main duck out ho gaya hoonga?
No,
He's
never.
going to go out saying, I'm going to hit the ball out of the park. I went to a company, they didn't even select my resume. I went to a company, they called me for an interview, but I didn't get through. I go to a company, everything happens, I get the offer, I don't join.
Then these days, a lot of candidates keep talking that we have to prepare our CV according to ATS, which is called ATS friendly CVs.
If you're talking about graduate hires from colleges today, it's a more impressionable age. Obviously, they're facing a lot of difficulties, a lot of challenges. Competition is at its peak. Jobs are not easy to come by. We understand the market situation. So they have to really first come out of the victim mode.
Now I have to submit 20 plus CVs. Likewise, earlier it was like out of 20 CVs, they used to offer at least 1 or 2 people because the human intervention used to be there. Now you upload 30 to 40 CVs at the go and then it gives top CVs with the match percentages and you take only the top 5%. These last 70 or 80% of the CVs, they might not have designed their CVs properly, but they might be having lot of capabilities more than those top 10-20%.
Yes. My career is my responsibility, right? If I'm coming to Sri Lakshmi and saying, can you please help me find a job? It's my responsibility to come and ask you, hey, what was the feedback if I didn't get selected? Can you please tell me 3 areas that I need to work on so that the next time I get an interview for a similar position, I'm already better off. I'm going to get Raghav an interview in X company. What have I done to find out about that X company? Have I even asked you where is the job description? As a candidate, have I even read the JD? Use the tool to extract keywords. Na? Have I matched those keywords to my resume? Has anybody made any effort? I'm telling you 9 on 10 times the effort is not made.
BA programs, they still teach that age-old syllabus.
My first point was stop being in the victim mode. I applied, but 10,000 people applied. The ATS rejected me. Victim mode. Done deal, over, chapter is done. Let's move on.
Hello, welcome to Metafolks Career Talk Show. This is your host, Sri Lakshmi. Today, I'm not talking about strategic thing. I'm not talking about something really big. We are talking about very micro level points which impact organizations and careers, majorly HR careers, in a larger way. Today, we have Mr. Raghav Avari. He has worked as CHRO with 30 plus years of experience in the industry with organizations like IBM, Deloitte, Brain organizations. He has shared a lot of insights on how do you build your HR career in the next AI future industry. So please join me for the conversation and take a lot of great insights. Hi Raghav.
Hello.
Welcome to Metafolks Career Talk Show and then thank you for coming to our show.
Totally my pleasure, Sri Lakshmi. Thank you for making me part of it.
Thank you. There is one question which is hitting me hard in my mind that we are into the recruitment industry. We do offer hiring solutions to the companies and IT services. So we keep sourcing profiles to the clients. And then these days, a lot of candidates keep talking that we have to prepare our CV according to ATS, okay, which is called ATS friendly CVs, okay. Now, I have 80% skill that is matching to the JD. There is one more person who is having 55 to 60% of the match to the JD. Now, both of us prepare this similar kind of ATS friendly CV in the same application. We do submit it. Okay. Now, how is it treating as a solution? Because maybe I'm the right fit for the profile and that person is not the right fit. Why is technology taking so many decisions for us in getting the jobs?
Right. See, there are 3 aspects to it, right? At a metaphysical level, we need to evaluate whether we are in the victim mode, right? So we should come out of that mode, right? I mean, and as if we are talking about graduate hires from colleges today, it's a more impressionable age. Obviously, they're facing a lot of difficulties, a lot of challenges. Competition is at its peak. Jobs are not easy to come by. We understand the market situation. So they have to really first come out of the victim mode. Somebody else is, ranked lower than me. I'm ranked higher. And, I am feeling victim, right? So despite being higher ranked, I'm feeling like a victim. Imagine
Okay.
that situation. It's so first things first. How do we enable them to overcome that?
Mm-hmm.
I think they can do it themselves also. Watch a couple of YouTube videos and you can find out how to overcome a victim mode, right?
Okay.
So, but the other aspects are, what are my skills that I need to present to a potential job? How do I even know that? See, when you read the job description, you read about the company that has published it, you'll automatically understand where do you fit and where do you not fit. It's a very realistic assessment that you have to do for your own self.
Hmm.
Basis which you prepare the CV, right? If I'm going to write today that I know how to develop a large language model, is
Hmm.
anyone going to believe it?
Hmm.
So there's no point, right? So I have to be real. I have to answer myself: is this realistic or not?
Hmm.
So the second aspect is whether it's an ATS friendly resume or not. Is my resume a realistic representation of myself or not? Then the third aspect is, hey, now how do I? So I'm targeting this company, I'm targeting this job, and I want it at any cost. So that's when your preparation starts. Even before your resume is prepared, you need to be prepared.
Hmm.
And life has become easier in that sense. I go on to LinkedIn, I will definitely find somebody working in that targeted company of mine. Then I go and check who are the mutuals over there, people who he knows or she knows or I also know. And I talk to them and say, hey, can you please put in a good word about me? Right? So we start doing the networking piece. This is the physical aspect of it, where I'm networking, I'm finding out people who work there, people who know me, people who don't know me. How do I go? So I click on connect and then I try to connect with them directly. 9 out of 10 times, any senior leader level employee of a company will respond positively to a LinkedIn Connect, especially if it is from a graduate hire.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody wants to contribute something to their development. And if they don't respond favorably, then write to them saying, hey, I'm trying to develop myself, I'm targeting a job in your company. What do you think I need to prepare for? Right? And then the ATS friendly resume comes in.
Okay.
So, a lot deeper preparation in terms of things to be done even before you reach the stage that you just spoke about.
Okay.
Right? Having said that, nobody has any guarantees today. None of us, neither of us, right? I
Hmm.
mean, however, the fact is that we should understand that the generation that we are talking about, right? I mean, even if it is Gen Z, or for that matter, the Alpha, which are whatever they want to call them. I mean, I don't like these terms, but I'm just using them for the sake of categorizing, right?
Hmm.
Each of them is already equipped with information that maybe you and I were not equipped when we were their
Yeah.
age, right?
True.
How they use that information is something we should challenge. We should channelize that properly. We've seen more life than them, right?
Yes.
It is our job, it is our responsibility to help them out on that. So, being ATS friendly is only one aspect of it. My personal example, right? I mean, I have a beautifully prepared one pager of mine, right? 2 column, nice picture. Obviously, resumes are best presentations of ourselves. So one of the things I was told is that the ATS does not recognize 2 columns.
Mm.
Change your resume. I'm like, hey, you know what? I've done 30 years of work. I have worked for some of the largest companies in the world.
Yeah.
Obviously, I've learned something, no?
Huh.
And please see me for what I've learned,
Yes.
not my CV and whether it is ATS or not. However, the world has moved into that ATS direction. So I said, okay, I have no choice now. I prepared an ATS friendly resume on my own. I took inputs from,
Mm.
online research that I've done. My resume does not look even half as good
Mm.
as it would if it was in the. So I did a newsletter format. I mean, it's so
Oh.
easy to read, right?
Oh.
Everything that I've done, all the companies I worked for, what are my awards, tuck, tuck, tuck. It's so easy to make a decision based on it.
Hmm.
But somebody preferred a 1 column resume, old school, right?
Okay.
And then all keywords mentioned. I can mention whatever I want in it. I can go by the keywords. There are keyword extraction tools, right?
Yeah.
So you can extract keywords from the job description,
Yes.
plant them in the resume, and make sure your resume goes through the ATS successfully.
Yes.
But that's only one aspect of it, right? I still have to be capable of getting through the interviews. Chalo, interviews are also now nicely prepped up for, right?
Uh,
But I should also be able to succeed in the job once I get it,
yes.
which is all purely dependent on my capability, right? It is not
Mm.
dependent on the ATS.
Correct. Now, bringing into this point, uh, ATS friendly is one aspect of it. Now, organizations have been using candidate assessment agentic AI tools.
Yes.
Okay. So now I, as a recruitment company, I give them 20 CVs.
Right.
Okay. Usually, when I give them 5 CVs or 10 CVs, one is a short offer. Okay. Now, since the match percentages, everything get displayed on it, now I have to submit 20 plus CVs. Out of, I mean, likewise, earlier it was like out of 20 CVs from a consultant or anybody else, they used to offer at least one or two people because the human intervention used to be there. Now you upload 30 to 40 CVs at the go, and then it gives top CVs with the match percentages, and you take only the top 5 percentage. So probably these last so-called 70 or 80% of the CVs, they might not have designed their CVs properly, but they might be having lot of capabilities more than those top 10-20 percentage.
Yeah.
Now, agentic AI software tools are taking decision.
Yes.
How are we
That is
going to change the job market for people for this?
See, my heart goes out to the 70 people that you're talking about, right?
Huh.
So I was talking to a friend of mine who's the head of recruitment globally for a multi-billion-dollar company, right? Assume about 16,000 crore turnover, right? And I asked him, hey, you know what? Is this making your life easy or is it making it more difficult? He says it's made it more difficult for me. I'm giving you an employer perspective on those 70 people, right? He said that the fear of losing out a qualified and capable candidate definitely rides very high on his priorities.
Correct.
Because they are also looking for people to come and help the cause of that organization, right?
Correct.
So it's happening on both sides. The organization, the employer is also facing issues because of the loss of 70 candidates.
Yes, there were scenarios where I went to the HR director or HR person and then said, now I found this person very good. We were talking to him. He is very good. Now, irrespective of the match percentage, why don't you talk to him and then make the judgment?
So if
And
this
they
is for
did that.
they did that, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you're very lucky that
I
they
mean,
did it.
in very special use cases where the requirement is too critical or crucial.
Right.
So now that happens, but it doesn't happen always.
Correct. Because you got lucky this time.
Mm.
See, it also depends on the capability of the person who's presenting the candidate, right? In this case, you were able to convince. It's your commitment to the candidate that led to that, right? You were able to articulate and have collaborative influence on that.
Right.
So being the right person at the right time doesn't change, regardless of agentic AI taking over the process, right?
Correct.
So that's something, and you can only be the right person at the right place if you're continuing to make attempts.
Correct.
Right? It can never. It's a iterative process, right? I went to a company, they didn't even select my resume. I went to a company, they called me for an interview, but I didn't get through. I go to a company, everything happens, I get the offer, I don't join. So all these scenarios remain the same, right? So it is a level playing field at one point of time. These tools, products, or whatever they're calling them, are being utilized to expedite the process, to accelerate it, to make it more scientific, in so many other ways. In this case, you used your collaborative influence capabilities, and the candidate was very lucky to be the right person at the right time with the right person to help the person out, right? It doesn't happen all the time. I'm still looking at the 70 people that you're talking about and wondering what we are supposed to do with them and how do we help them. From that perspective, if we get feedback as to why they were not selected, it is not basis the resume, right? There's an assessment that has been done by the tool or the individual, either ways. So my recommendation would be to figure out or analyze what is that feedback, plow it back in terms of learning for those 70 candidates, let them come back positively, right? It's a and all this is reality. I don't want to talk, they should have gone to IIT and or maybe they should have gone to a premier institute, or maybe let's not do that, right? I mean, it's very judgmental. So we have to now do it scientifically, in the sense interview feedback is very easy to procure, especially for candidates who you felt very strongly about,
Mm.
right? If not all 70. But then what about that individual's own responsibility for this? My career is my responsibility, right?
Mm.
If I'm coming to Sri Lakshmi and saying, can you please help me find a job? It's my responsibility to come and ask you, hey, what was the feedback if I didn't get selected? Can you please tell me 3 areas that I need to work on so that the next time I get an interview for a similar position, I'm already better off? The probability of success goes up. I mean, it's not as easy as I said, but
Yeah.
that's the way to go. And it is iterative.
Yeah, it is. It is. So,
Just an example of how this can be overcome. I'm still saying there are a set of candidates who are getting through. The percentage is shrinking.
yes.
It's not even 5% anymore. If you give 20 candidates, if one of them gets an offer, I think it's a big
That's
deal.
in the traditional approach.
Yeah, it might get even lesser now. All 20
Lesser.
can also get
It's
rejected.
like you give at least a 50 to 60 CVs, hardly
Two.
2 percentage,
Yeah.
1 or 2
Correct.
percentage are going to the
Correct.
next assessment phase.
Correct. See, like I said, right? I mean, I just gave you an example of what I would do. But then, wouldn't I have already prepared myself before coming to Sri Lakshmi?
Hmm.
Sri Lakshmi is saying, I am going to get a Raghavan interview in X company. What have I done to find out about that X company? What have I done to find out? Have I even asked you where is the job description? Of late, it's a standard operating procedure for the recruitment head to send out a JD,
Yes.
right? And we will ask for it. That's the first question we ask.
Yes.
But as a candidate, have I even read the JD? Use the tool to extract keywords, na? Find out where I match some of I can't match all the keywords. It'll be utopian. But if I match at least a few of them, at least portray my strengths, right? Have I matched those keywords to my resume? Has anybody made any effort? I'm telling you, 9 on 10 times the effort is not made.
Even that's
Yeah. So I'm giving you two perspectives of the same thing. So amongst the 70 people, if you find even 10 of them genuinely interested in their career and who will do all of this, right? We just need to guide them on this and say, hey, there is a keyword extraction tool. Here it is. Get it out of the JD. Check your resume. Does it have it? And if it has it, be careful. You should be able to talk about it. You should have done something about it.
Something, not just keeping it.
Not just keeping it, which means they should have prepared for this in their college time so that they would have done something about it. You can't wait. See, everybody is doing it like a tick in the checkbox, right? Employers are also doing it like a tick in the checkbox, unfortunately. However, it's their prerogative. So it's up to us. The job, we want the job. So we have to do it with interest. And believe me, in the interviews, it comes through. When they've gone well prepared, when they've put their heart into it, the interviewer can tell.
Okay.
And they will, and if they don't get through, connect with them on LinkedIn, ask them to be referred to another job that comes to their notice, because they're also networked.
Yeah.
So they know that somebody else is looking for this help.
Correct.
So it's a mixed bag now. The algorithm has to be still the same thing. Am I genuinely interested in getting this job? If I am, then my resume is curated perfectly and I put an effort into it. It's not like I use a resume generator and then it's done and I'm just going to check for spelling mistakes or whatever and then I send it off. It has to be a lot more. Okay. And the preparation starts in college, not the day of placement. Every day of college life is full of freedom. How I utilize that? Am I going into a committee? Am I participating in the cultural committee? Am I doing some? There are skills that you learn out of it.
Correct.
And there are things that match a job description out of it.
So, when you're saying that, I mean, and you have to be prepared, and even organizations should also think about it.
Yes.
Now, all these applications are taking decisions. When it comes to that, I think you're also building some applications.
Yes.
You build some applications for HRs and all.
Yes.
When you say you have built applications to ease the job of HR, ek din ka kaam, it's been done in half an hour.
Yes.
Okay, it could be onboarding or anything. Similarly, when we were discussing last time, you said, give me 4 developers instead of this one. Right.
You-
Beautiful. When a job is being done, a 1 day job is being done in 30 minutes or less than 1 hour, wonderful. We can do much more productive things there. But there are lot of aspirants who have done their MBA HR or BBA. They have joined HR job in lot of companies, small, mid, and large size organizations.
Yep. That's
Like आप उन लोगों का खाना like they they were thinking that I will do something great. I will become this. I will achieve something great in the HR role. So now,
yeah.
when I'm not talking about your application, indeed, I'm talking lot of such applications are coming into the
Yeah.
industry. When
Yeah.
these applications, agentic AI softwares are taking place of HRs, how are the roles of these HRs going to get designed?
Hmm.
Will there be, I mean, I will not ask this question, lame question of will AI replace people
Hmm.
or anything. That's, I mean, being in the industry, if I ask, that will be so lame.
Yeah.
But
That is part of
if HRs have to progress in the role,
Hmm.
they are actually clueless.
Yeah.
Many recruiters who have started their job, many HR executives,
Yeah.
HR specialists, HR
Correct.
business partners, they've become so clueless now.
Yes.
How is it going to evolve?
Yeah. Well, it's like this is a question like if I were to give a parallel or if I were to ask a question differently, how are we going to solve world hunger,
Huh?
right? And one of my uncles is a is an agricultural scientist, and he works for the United Nations maize program.
Okay.
Now, imagine he has now been mandated by UN to promote maize as a substitute for wheat world over.
Huh?
So he's actually solving world hunger. So it is possible, right? So if the question is, can we solve world hunger? Answer is yes. Short answer.
Huh?
We can finish everything right now. Yes, it is
Huh?
possible. Everything is okay. See, so jokes apart, the serious answer to that is two parts, right? One is what, as an HR professional, if I am starting my career now, if I were to run a scenario in my mind right now, scenario one is I don't have a job. I'm searching for one. So I'm going to research on every possible HR job description published in India at least today.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Manufacturing, IT, and hospitality sector and retail. Let's take 4 sectors. If I have to research on every HR job description published in these 4 sectors, can you imagine the number of JDs I have to research? Right? But if I'm genuinely wanting my job, won't I spare the time to do it? Don't I have the time to do it?
You will do at least 30 to 40 kinds of job descriptions.
30 to 40, right? I mean, let's take even 20.
Mm. 20.
By the time I read those job descriptions, wouldn't I have an understanding of what skills will be required?
Mm. Yeah.
Very intelligent, huh?
Mm.
If I am today's 20-plus-year-old MBA graduate, I am much more intelligent than I was when I was 20 years old.
Absolutely.
Equipped with all the information, right? So I have to utilize that information. Then I will build a skill. I'll build a certification in it. Obviously, I don't have experience, so I'll build a certification in those areas because they're relevant to those jobs.
Nice point.
Right?
Okay.
And then it's scientific, right? I'm not talking in the air. This is absolutely possible.
Okay.
Right? Of course, there has to be a job that says MBA fresher apply.
Mm-hmm.
The minute they say that, 10,000 applications will go in, and then the ATS
Will come into the
will
picture.
creep in, right? But if I keep that is why my first point was stop being in the victim mode.
Okay.
I applied, but 10,000 people applied. The ATS rejected me.
Mm.
Victim mode. Done deal, over, chapter is done. Let's move on.
Mm.
What else?
Mm.
Let's go to the next job. Okay. I don't want a full-time job. Give me a free internship. I'll prove my worth to you.
Mm.
If I make this offer to you as an employer,
Mm-hmm. Then I'll definitely test the capabilities.
then there's no ATS anymore, no?
Mm.
So I will go and put myself out there
Mm.
in different ways.
Okay.
Right? And the free internship is not because I don't want a job. The free internship is to prove myself. So see, if I'm a 3 to 5 year experienced HR professional just starting my career, then it's a journey. Now I've started my journey with this company.
Mm.
X company in whatever sector.
Mm.
Now the sector also doesn't matter, at least in my belief. I mean, people in manufacturing say, I want only an HR person with manufacturing experience. They learn their lessons, okay? They learn it the hard way if they continue in that path, because technology has become agnostic to sectors.
Oh, yeah.
Right? As human beings, we should understand that it doesn't matter whether the person has worked in the IT sector or manufacturing sector. HR is HR in either ways. It's about dealing with people. It's just that those people behave differently. Please hire a smart enough person to adjust to that, right? I mean, won't I know what the language is
Yeah.
of each of these companies? Won't I understand the culture? People pick up these things in a couple of weeks. It doesn't even take time. Just take a look around. I mean, if you go to a person who's done 3 years of work in the IT sector,
Mm.
what makes us think that they can't do the same HR job in the manufacturing company or a retail setup? They might do it better, but we have to be optimistic about it, right? As an employer, my recommendation, if I were to be hired as a consultant for an employer, what change should we make
Mm.
in our hiring process? I will say, hey, first of all, stop straitjacketing people and pigeonholing them, right?
Yeah.
That's when you'll get the right talent. And I am not saying this and sermonizing. I have done this myself. I have actually used my collaborative influence to bring in this need that, the need for more interviews come down.
Superb.
So if I were to consult with a company, I would tell them, hey, please, assessments can happen. 3 interviews are done. Please take a decision. Please accelerate, because the candidate is also waiting, right? I mean, be empathetic.
Yeah.
Everybody says we'll be empathetic. So when somebody said we'll be empathetic, I said, yes, please be empathetic to the candidate also and finish your interviews quickly. The person who took the longest time to do an interview was talking about empathy. See, I should be smart enough to catch the agenda then, right?
Correct.
I should catch that bus. So as a leader, being situationally aware so that I bring out the right topic at the right moment, right? When the person who's taken the longest time to do an interview is talking about being empathetic and being quick on our feet, I said, hey, you take 3 days to conduct an interview and you're telling me to be quicker than I am. That's not fair. And you're telling me about empathy. Do you have empathy for the candidate who's waited 3 days for your interview?
3 days is a very, very shorter time.
I didn't take 3 days, by the way. I did not. I could. For me, 3 days is like 5 days mein offer tak jana na.
No,
Or
yours is like 3 days is a very, very shorter time when I compare to the organizations that we have been.
so that's why I said, if I were to be hired as a consultant and if I am asked how do I improve my hiring process, I will tell them, hey, first of all, take decisions quicker, right? I mean, make your process shorter. It's okay to fail quickly. Fail fast. Right? Because the world has moved.
Yeah.
In 5 days, the world has moved from where it was. The needle has moved. So please, move faster. And that is how we scaled a 40 people company to 3,000, right? So end of the day, if I were to go back to the point is, hey, if I've done this, anybody else can do it. So going to the point of these 3 to 5 year experience HR folks, developing that skill, right? That ability to be situationally aware and utilizing it to have collaborative influence on our stakeholders to help our cause, right? But that requires a lot of preparation, right? I mean, I'm always going prepared for a meeting. I already have the data. See, I'll give an example of Virat Kohli, right? When Virat Kohli goes out to bat, point number 1, is he going to go out thinking that aaj main duck out ho gaya hounga?
No,
He's going to go out saying, I'm going to hit the ball out of the park.
Yeah.
Right? Point number 1. So, victim mode.
Zero.
Yeah. He's going to be facing the world's best bowlers and fielders.
Yeah.
So, he's not going to go out thinking I'm a victim. So, same parallels to don't go on a victim mode. Same thing for the 3 to 5 year experienced people also, no? Yeah. Why am I on a victim mode saying jobs are drying up, AI is taking over my role, all that stuff, right?
Very nice. When you say, okay, you'll have to be really equipped with the skills that are where the world is moving. Now, these HRs, when they have to pick up those skills, what are those skills? Because not only HRs, they will do it, okay? Now, institutions and universities have been conducting these programs, MBA programs. Now, they still teach that age-old syllabus, okay? And not everybody can afford doing their additional work or anything. Not everybody. So now universities when or colleges when they themselves design the program such a way that these people are market ready.
Hmm.
So what are those skills
Yeah,
that they have to equip with HRs
see,
for new age AI? Mm.
see, frankly, if a student comes and asks me this question, I will be surprised.
Mm.
They should already know it.
Yeah,
They would have already had GPT on their phone, no?
yeah, it is it.
What are the new age HR skills? It will give you an entire volume encyclopedia of
Yeah,
it, right?
discussions are there.
So, so if somebody comes and asks me this question, if the person is 3 to 5 years of experience, I'll say, buddy, please change, please improve, please work very quickly. In the next half an hour, in the next 5 minutes, I want you to answer that question to me. 5 minutes.
Yeah. So the reason this question was asked is to make sure that the thought process also what
Correct.
people are carrying.
See, if people have used GPT to find out all sorts of other things, then my first advice to them is to please channelize your thoughts. Right? I mean, at a thought level, at a mind level, please, at a soul level or at any other metaphysical level, at least stop being a victim. Right? That part is clear. Secondly, if I'm using GPT on my phone, why am I not asking GPT what are the new age HR skills? And then extract the JD keywords out of a JD. Oh my God, companies are going to really kill me for this, but but it's the truth of the world, right? See, at least, but don't match it to your resume, match it to your skill that you actually have, right?
Yeah, I mean to gain that
Yeah.
skill.
At least gain the skill while you're, if your organization is not offering it, please do a project beyond it, right? One of the things that I've learned is that I've never limited myself to only my role. I'm fortunate to work for leaders and organizations that have given me this ability, right? See, I can't go and tell my boss, hey, I'm actually doing a talent relations role. I also want to go and do a project that will impact the HR advisor's role in my company, right? The HR advisors are going to say, who are you to come and tell me what I'm supposed to do? Right? And my boss is going to come and do my boss will come and tell me, you first focus on your job,
Do
right?
it
And
properly.
do it properly. So that's not the way to do it, right? There are ways and means of doing it. And that's how I landed a second role when I was in IBM.
Okay.
See, and this is if I can take about 60 seconds on this, right? So I was an HR partner in IBM, and I was the HR partner for the infra business. I could have very happily, stuck to it and done what I'm supposed to do. But I went and identified their biggest problem, which was about risk and compliance. And there is a team in IBM that does that exclusively from the HR function standpoint. Their problem was that the Hyderabad center was going the slowest in identifying and addressing those issues.
Okay.
So I went and helped that team. But that was over and above my responsibilities.
Not keeping this aside.
Which means I would have worked
Yes.
more than 12, 14 hours a day, right?
Yes.
Because the infra business itself is a 24/7 business.
True. Correct.
But I have to have the emotional energy for it, right? So this 3 to 5 year experienced person in today's world, does this change? The fact that we need to be genuinely interested in developing the skills that are required, which I will do with my experience.
Correct.
In that company, okay, if not that company, I'll call my friend who's an HR in another company and say, what problems are you facing? Have a discussion. When I'm hanging out in wherever, Pizza Hut or whichever mall, right? What am I doing? I'm talking about Labubu dolls and I'm talking about everything else. Sorry, I'm not judgmental about Gen Z and Gen Alpha. Labubu dolls are beautiful. They sold for $1 billion, but they made a lot of money and then tanked also because they overproduced. But the point is so when I talk about buying a Labubu doll, am I working on getting the money to buy one? Or am I looking at them as a business? As a business, they tanked, by the way. They overproduced and could not sell. That can happen.
Yeah.
So my discussion with my friend should be, hey, तुम्हारा company में क्या चल रहा है? What is happening in your company? What's your attrition percentage? But for that, I need to know how attrition is calculated, na?
Correct.
Is it a YTD, MTD, right? But if I don't even know this, if I have not understood this, what question am I going to ask my friend?
It's all upgrading.
It is about upskilling, always reskilling if required. Data analytics is an area that I would say is number one.
Mm.
You equip yourself with data, understand how to extract insights out of it.
Okay.
I can give a prompt and get data.
Correct.
Right? Today it's all prompt engineering, right?
Correct.
Prompt engineering. See, another fancy word, right? It's about you having clarity on what you want from that system
Yes.
and then asking it the right way. If you're able to get that right, you'll get your data right. But the data is not enough. What sort of an insight can I extract out of it? My YTD attrition percentage run rate is 18.5%. What is the use of that? That data is static. What is the industry attrition? Which company am I comparing myself with? What is their attrition? And then what are they doing to address it? What
So
can I suggest for this company?
data analytics is most
Is
crucial
one.
that
And I've given you a
everyone has to
rundown
pick
on
up.
what I will do on that day for it. I mean, I can't make it more practical than this. There's no
Yeah.
need for a one course of 6 months for this, right?
Yes.
This is, if somebody hears this and notes this down, it's done. They can actually look at so many other metrics
Yes.
in HR, right? So we are only talking about HR is what I'm presuming.
Yes.
Right? So secondly, if I'm not able to, if I'm not a data person, if I don't understand math and all that, see, the concept of empathy is something that everybody talks about.
Yes.
The 3 to 5 year experience person also will talk about it. A CHRO with 50 years of experience also will talk about it.
Hmm.
What's the difference between them? See, the 3 to 5 year experience person can actually understand what's happening currently,
Hmm.
equip themselves with the knowledge that the higher experienced person will delve into, right? So in a discussion about what should we do as an HR function,
Hmm.
it's a discussion that happens, right? At that point of time, I have to come across intelligent. And the only way to do it is to develop the skill. So I'll say, hey, we should develop more empathy in the organization.
Hmm.
If my team member comes and tells me this, I'll say, are you telling me that we are not empathetic?
Hmm.
How did we become this without being empathetic, right? So I'm going to challenge them. But if they're going to tell me, sir, I spoke to that person said that my manager is not empathetic because he didn't give me leave, I'll say, one scenario. So I have to be intelligent enough to pitch in my point of view, which is of course on the data, but then I can also talk about how we develop empathy and a properly metricized way of doing it. So that's the second thing. So I make that, those are those HR agendas, right? I mean, when I see people talking, when I go to YouTube, HR leaders are giving free information out, right? Find out what they're saying, find out those use cases, right? And then come up with your solutions for it, for your own company.
Okay.
The third and last thing is, I will always be unlearning what I've learned.
Hmm.
And
You
this,
don't have to get stuck to it.
absolutely. But then I have to first understand my business for it,
Hmm.
right? And so somebody asked me, so Raghav, what did you do? You know, this was a question that was asked to me in a session that I was taking for an MBA college. So the student raised his hand and said, what did you do about it, Raghav?
Hmm.
So I said, hey, for example, again, IBM, right? And the business leaders there will tell you that I actually went and understood how to patch a Unix server.
Okay.
Why would an HR partner want to find that out?
Hmm.
But I wanted to find out what is the ground level reality. I can't go and talk to 10,000 people, right?
Hmm.
But I can go and learn what they do
Okay.
and at least understand how they do it and then find out what the problems are. Concept of human error is there. How does that human error work? Human errors cause a lot of damage for business. So I understand that when you patch a wrong server, the server goes down, the customer faces the brunt for it. Their systems will stop working. And IBM will be liable to penalties according to the contract if that happens, because there's business loss for them. One person sitting in Hyderabad patches the wrong server, the customer issues a penalty to IBM. But does an HR guy understand how this connects? I am suggesting yes, you should.
One thing, this is a crucial period of appraisals, right? Performance reviews do happen in the first quarter of the calendar year. From April, May, June, the salary hikes will go on. Now, for every HR function, there is an application, agentic AI application people have been using for now performance reviews, fitting them into the bell curve using these applications, everything we know that. So now, Earlier, we used to have a certain category where, okay, this person is super capable enough.
Hmm.
He gives that productivity to the company, though he did not perform great this year. Okay, in the sense like maybe his because of health issue or anything else,
Hmm.
I will give him decent hike because he has got that capability. Probably employers, management used to think that way. So now when HR softwares are coming into place, are they taking these appraisal decisions, whom to give which percentage of hike and all?
See, so many things covered in your question. Actually, Sri Lakshmi, that question is very loaded, right? Um,
AK-47.
you literally pointed a bazooka at me, not even an AK-47, right? So it's far more. We'll have to divide that question into multiple parts, right? The first part is we are saying how do we overcome subjectivity in performance reviews, right? Which is a much larger discussion. We can have a podcast only on that. So systems have to help there. I mean, broadly speaking, the organization system has to help. And that's where agentic AI can be of great help, right? Because, and I'm saying it very broadly again, right? This is 20,000 feet. Imagine agentic AI being able to capture what the person has done or not done at that point of time
Mm.
and reflect it during the discussion, right? So, anyway, that's another point, but we'll get back to subjectivity. Data is the only way subjectivity can be overcome.
Mm.
And please brace yourselves for performance reviews not to happen once in a year. Please brace
Yeah.
yourself for it to happen every day.
Yeah.
Now, somebody told me, oh, Raghav, we'll miss the woods for the trees. If you do that, we'll become very myopic if you do that. How are we supposed to overcome that? Hey, you know what? As a leader, I would expect you to be built of better stuff, right? If you're not able to zoom in and zoom out, depending on the context,
Mm.
then how are you going to be a good leader?
Mm.
If I have to point out on January 15th, when I asked you to do this task, you didn't do it, you will obviously miss the woods for the trees.
Mm.
And I'm going to use that as data against a person, right? Then the leader himself or herself is in question, isn't it? So, as an HR professional, my suggestion to their manager will be, hey, please train this person on being more empathetic,
Mm.
right?
Yes.
Because I am not going to use what happened last year, January, in this year's appraisal. Because my question to that leader will be, what did you do on January 15th when the person made that mistake or whatever, did not do their task, to make sure they do it well? Why are we waiting for one full year
Mm.
to point that out as a problem in their performance discussion? Please include it in the performance discussion of that leader. That timely feedback was not given to that individual,
Mm.
right? So we're building empathy because we are saying, hey, Mr. So and so, you should have finished this yesterday on January 15th. This is January 16th. I'll help you finish it today, but next time please do it yourself and please make sure you're on time,
Mm.
right? Now, what will happen to that person to whom that feedback was given?
Yeah. Immediately it gets impacted in the work.
Now, let's say the person doesn't perform well again.
I mean, you take 2 to 3 chances, and after that,
After that, you
give
go
them
through
time.
the structure, right? Then, does HR have to come and tell the leader what to do in that situation? Do you want to hide behind a policy document and take care of it? Right? That's what people do, right? HR ने नहीं बोला मुझे. HR did not tell me. Hey. What did you do? Right? People hate this, but this is the truth. All right, we'll still do a peripheral job of addressing this, right? Somebody is even more cleverer. They don't wait for 1 year. They'll come and tell me this person is not working, and they would have come and told me this 10 times.
Mm.
11th time, I'm going to say put them through the process. There is a process. Decent sized companies have processes to address this. If they don't, time to call Raghav. So, but the point is, no, there are systems and processes. We've designed this before, and I learned from my IBM days and Deloitte days on how to do it in a fair way,
Mm.
right, without letting subjectivity creep in. Now, data is the important point, right? And do not wait for the year to come through to point out that this person has done better than that person, right? If somebody has not done better than somebody else, then please make it dynamic. Na? Give them opportunities to showcase that they're better. Because by the time the discussion actually has to happen, it should not be more than 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Because you've already shown the mirror.
And my next question on the you wanted me to split the question, right? Because
subjectivity part is
subjective
how
is this thing.
the
So,
second part is the system itself handling it, right?
Yeah,
See,
the software's handling the appraisal part of it.
see,
And all
the good news is that it can't substitute a human being,
that.
right? So that's good news for managers and HR folks.
Yeah.
You'll still be needed. But then, what are you needed for? It will be, again, going back to data, right? I'm sorry I'm boring you with data, but that's the truth.
Yeah.
The system has generated something, no? And are we going to wait for the year end to find out whether the system has done its job or not? Aren't we monitoring this on a regular basis? Isn't this on our checklist, on a daily checklist?
Correct. And when this happens, okay, and it's the core and prime part of it when you give the hikes. When you give the hikes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Assuming there are hikes. So
Yeah. Okay. Giving them the hikes. I have done a small short reel on this one.
okay.
It's in Telugu actually. When people say, why do employees take away all the stationery or any things to home, and then when you do it, I mean, I was not expecting it. Just out of the blue, I did it. Some incident happened, and then I recollected some incident, and I did it. Overnight, I woke up and then I saw it was like 1.2 lakh views. I mean, there was a lot of relatability. And then the comments show that if companies give hike, we wouldn't do it. Even they were being sarcastic there. So now when it comes to hikes, when you said, hikes have to be in the pattern of rewarding their contribution, not distributing your budget, right? So even for this, like, organizations have been spending their time in distributing the budgets, or do they have to really reward it? Because there are many organizations who does it.
Yeah.
Right. So what is your take on it?
See, it's different for different organizations, right? If I'm a 10 people organization versus if I'm a 10,000 people organization versus 100,000 people organization. As it gets larger, the structures fall in place even more stringently, right? It's a lot more flexible as it gets smaller, right? But it will still be limited. There is no choice. It is limited. Employers are bound by limitations. Employees are bound by limitations the similar way. It will trickle down, right? So, the only way to ensure that it is done equitably, not equally, is to make sure that there is no subjectivity in the process, which I spoke about just now. In the same light, imagine, after having worked for so many years, imagine my vulnerability as an HR leader. When somebody sees this podcast, he'll say, tell that Raghav guy to first be the correct HR person. There's a possibility, right? I mean, imagine, I would have dealt with hundreds of thousands of employees. Not everybody is going to be, 90% will not be happy with me as an HR guy. Out of the 90%, 70% will say, ye karta kya hai? What does this guy do in the first place? He's a useless fellow. First, tell him to do his job properly, right? So, all these issues will come up in these performance discussions, right? We have to overcome all of that. See, I can't go by one person coming and telling Raghav, you first be a good HR guy and, make sure I get a good hike. If I make sure you get a good hike, I'll be a good HR guy, is it?
No.
Otherwise, I'm not a good HR guy, is it? So, the way we get judged, this is not assessment, right? This is judging now, right? Totally subjective.
Yeah.
So, how do we balance this out? It is all individual, right? And that's where the HR role comes in, right? The ability to be able to take this backlash, right? There's backlash. Let's be frank, right? And there will be backlash on an HR guy. It goes to extreme levels, and it also doesn't happen many times. People tend to move on in their lives. They move to another role, they move to another organization. They'll say, I'm not happy with the way I'm being dealt with. See, the world is now very dynamic. Hikes are not only determined by the previous year's performance, which is, in my opinion, measured every day. At least good organizations have
Monthly
introduced
measurement.
daily.
Yeah.
See, back in the day, both Deloitte and IBM, great organizations. I'm not saying it because I worked for them. I'm just generally saying it that they were way ahead of their time. They talked about daily check-ins.
Okay.
The performance management system is designed to take daily check-ins of every employee of the organization. Can you imagine how powerful that system is? And how much thought has gone behind it? Right?
True. Yeah.
The day life is going to be like that.
Hmm.
It is going to be daily check-ins. You are only as good as your last mistake. This
Hmm.
is same for when I was joining an organization in my life and today also, right?
Correct.
I would have done 10 things right, one mistake, that's it. That is how vulnerable it is. So to say that, hey, I am not recognized because my compensation hike is not the same as I expected that approach itself is wrong. The compensation hike is based on what you've done, based on what the manager has assessed, based on what the organization can give. So many aspects of it. My friend who is the head of Comp and Ben for the world's largest ERP organization, which is not called ERP anymore, will come and give you a nice structure for it. He will also give you compensation benchmarks. He doesn't even need to go to any consulting company to find out what the compensation benchmarks are. He knows them
On
by the
his
tip of his fingertips, right? So he'll develop that entire system for you. The manager will come and say, why is it so structured? Why is it so rigid? I want to give more hike to this person, whereas the system will not allow it.
I have the same question. That tool will say, okay, give only 6% hike, but
You
manager
can't go
wants to
beyond.
do it.
No, so see, as you grow larger, the systems are going to be more rigid, right?
Mm.
That is what large companies are dealing with today,
Ah.
right? Imagine, did did let's say SAP anticipate that GPT is going to come into the world?
No, they didn't.
They didn't. Now they have to adapt. But is SAP going to get into LLM development? It's
No.
not their core.
Yeah.
Now trickle this down to compensation.
Mm.
What should be SAP's compensation decision be for this year? If I am the SAP head, should I give hikes? I am already running at the pace of light. Being the behemoth that I am, I can't adapt and do LLM development.
Mm.
I will get somebody to do it for me. I will do it. Maybe I have the technical team doing it for me and I'll develop it internally. Maybe I have to add it to my SAP suite of products
Mm.
to take it to the world so that I compete with the likes, right? Maybe my decision is I will not do LLM development ever. I'm going to stick to my core. Those decisions will determine how much compensation has to be paid for who at what point of time. As an employee, I don't have a choice but to accept it.
Were there any scenarios where that LLM has given a decision and then you don't want to accept that decision for the employees?
Maybe not on the compensation piece, but then see, LLM also has a limitation in its own way of responding, right? So I had a situation where we utilized our own concepts to develop an LLM that can answer 10,000 questions, anticipated questions of employees, right? If you noticed, I'm interspersing my discussions with data in it.
Mm.
So I'm not only sermonizing it, I'm utilizing it for myself also in my life. First, you have to anticipate that employees will ask these questions.
Mm.
Then you'll have to draft the responses for it. Then you'll have to train the LLM to answer it.
Mm.
Then you will say the LLM has to answer it regardless of how the question is asked. Because each employee asks the same question in a different way.
Different.
Now, what happens when the LLM is not answering it? Right?
Yeah. End of the day, we talk about bias. Okay.
Bias, yeah.
And these
Hallucination
models,
bias.
hallucinations, these
Right.
models are built on math,
Correct.
complete math,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
So now, when that model is taking a wrong decision for you,
Correct.
as a human, our presence is definitely
Correct.
needed.
Correct. So what did I do? There are two things. One is I said, if the LLM doesn't answer the question, the trigger should be sent to stakeholders.
Mm.
Me being on top of that list. I should know that my system didn't work the way I wanted it to. It's not answered the question to my employee.
Okay.
Secondly, empower the employee to tell whether he or she is satisfied with the response or not. A thumbs up or a thumbs down.
So if employee is not happy with your decision, thumbs down. Who takes the responsibility? You or algorithm?
It will, see, the minute the thumbs down comes, a trigger is again sent to the stakeholders. No, again,
Okay.
me being on top of the list.
Okay.
Imagine my vulnerability.
Yeah. Though your software is taking the decision, end of the day, the stakeholder, the person, the
They
HR
will get a
person
trigger.
will take the
Correct.
responsibility, will
Correct.
take the complaint,
Yes.
will take that.
Absolutely. That is the human element in it, no?
Hmm.
Good news. AI
Hmm.
has not replaced. We still are relevant. So 3 to 5 year experience, 8 to 10 year experience, please understand how to develop a system
Hmm.
that can include all of these aspects of it. And let employees feel heard. Despite this, there's vulnerability, no? This Raghav guy, CHRO, big guy, is saying so many big things. What did he do?
Hmm.
He removed a person because they didn't perform well.
Hmm.
He was part of a decision because the company had to ramp down because of financial issues. Maro isko, right? So, see, people are not, I don't expect them to be empathetic there, right? But the fact remains that the systems can be developed with empathy in it.
Oh.
My empathy was, hey, if the system has not answered, the trigger should come. Hey, your system did not answer.
Hmm.
When, okay, the system has answered it, the employee is not satisfied, they're capable of expressing themselves. Now, there was another metric. Now, again, data. When a person does not give a thumbs up or a thumbs down, what do we do? It comes as a data point. X% of your employees have not even expressed themselves.
Hmm. Then you'll have to go and talk to them face to face.
Yes, that is the job of the HR person, no? The 3 to 5 year experience person, 8 to 10 year experience person. I'll call them for a meeting and say, please go and talk to them.
Hmm.
They asked a question and they did not express themselves on whether they're happy with it or not. That's a meaningful conversation, no?
Yes.
But if my HR partner has not upgraded themselves to be able to understand this data and ask, why should they wait for me to call for a meeting?
They should only do themselves.
They should do it themselves, no? Are you going to go and talk to an employee and say, hi, how are you? I heard you're getting married tomorrow. That person will say, how the hell do you know that I'm getting married tomorrow? It's so intrusive. That is the world we live in today.
Yeah.
Previously, it would be a strong point that the HR knows about the employee. Today, the lesser the person knows about the employee, the better, because the employee feels intruded into. If I go and say, hey, I heard that you have a problem with finding yourself a house, they'll say, how the hell do you know this? That's the world we've moved into, right? But if you go and say, hey, you asked a question, did you get the answer you were looking for? That is empathy, right? And you're being proactive also. So the skill is again about how to use that system. Like I said, right, those 3 things. But for that, you need to understand the business therein. If the person is a testing professional, we all know QA tools have come into the market and they're already fearing redundancy.
Yes.
And if you're going to go and say, hey, I heard about this company, which is doing testing automation, that goes person is obviously going to go and say, my HR already knows, which means, oh, kuch to ho raha hai. Something's going to happen to my job. But if you go and say, you asked a question, you didn't respond back to it, it makes sense. I'm just giving you scenarios, practical scenarios. Grassroots level, obviously, it's a lot more complicated than that. But we need to anticipate, right? And again, Dhoni, Virat Kohli. Let me take Dhoni's name this time. When he walks into the ground, is he going to say, I'm going to hit the ball out of the park? Or has he practiced in the nets well enough to go into the ground and anticipate where the bowler is going to bowl? And then be prepared. Because there's a metric for that also, by the way. I think the batsman has 0.02 of a second or 0.2 of a second to react to a ball coming at 140 kilometers an hour. Not 1 second, point decimals of a second. So you're not going to go in there saying, I'm going to hit. You're going to go and say, abhi ye bowling yahan karega. This person is going to bowl an outside the off stump, outswinger, and then he's going to go and play. So that's the way HR professionals have to work. They have to anticipate. Anticipation is about systems again. And the same system that you spoke about, which could have bias and rigidity in them.
Correct.
But the larger organizations, there's no other choice. Otherwise, there'll be leakage, there'll be pilferage. If one person comes and says, I want 10% and the HR person agrees to it, 20 other people will come and say, you gave it to that person, how can you not give it to me? So if a person aspires to work for a large corporation, please be ready for this. Please understand. Please be prepared. Understand what you're getting into. Right?
So the decisions definitely will...
Yeah. Be happy that at least at that point of time, there's no subjectivity. But see, imagine the vulnerabilities, right? I hate my manager. I hate my HR.
Mm.
right? Imagine if you go and talk to an employee who was affected by either their own performance or because of integrity or because the company went down financially, and if you talk to them about their HR, they'll obviously say negative things only, no?
Mm. Obviously.
Those are vulnerabilities.
Yes.
So I have taken up the job of a CHR. I better know that I'm vulnerable to that, right? It's not for the faint-hearted. So if they aspire, then please, and please, if I'm going to be in the victim mode today, then I can say, oh, I actually did everything right, but that person didn't do their job. Finance did not come through, money didn't come through. That's why we have to do these things. Imagine that. That's victim mode, no? Oh, now because of that mistake, somebody is going to come and write some comment, social media backlash, right? I mean, we all know how it can happen and how it spirals, right? By giving this podcast, am I not exposing myself to that?
Yeah.
I know 250,000 views for you, right? In your last podcast.
Yeah.
I've come prepped. 250,000 people. What are the chances of somebody who knows me seeing it and somebody who's got affected by a decision made by an organization that I worked for?
Yeah.
Part of the deal.
Uh, Last but not least, if I have to say, people have been switching jobs.
Hmm.
Earlier, it was 5 years back, then 5 years. It came to
Yeah.
2 years. Now it's like hardly 1 year.
Yeah.
Okay. People talk about employers talk about loyalty. Okay. Where is the loyalty?
Yeah.
You're not been with the organization for longer term.
Yeah.
Now, when we talk to employees, what they say is, last year I stepped into this organization.
Hmm.
I was coding on some technology.
Hmm.
Even today, I'm doing the same. Where is my growth progression? Okay. So now, when you have to talk to them about loyalty, talk to them about this growth. Okay. I think the next generation, new generation of employees are losing that trust.
Yeah. That's a very, very, very important point you brought about. Sri Lakshmi, I'm so happy that it's challenging for me to respond to it because I can't respond to it in one podcast. It's a huge topic. See, if I'm going to go as an employee, right now I'm playing the employee persona, right? Let's assume that I'm working for a big company. Am I feeling safer there?
It depends on the organization. Yeah.
There are companies that have mandated that every year they're supposed to remove X thousand number of people. Every year.
Larger organizations.
Yes. It's a targeted layoff that's going to happen. That's the world we live in, not future. Since last year only those targets have started.
Yeah, last year it started. It's going to continue.
It's going to continue. So if my perception as an employee that I'm working for a bigger company, therefore I am safer is the case, sorry to bust the bubble.
No, it's not.
It's not the case. I don't want to be the bearer of only bad news here, right? But then the questions are such. See, we have to, and the questions are pertinent to the world today that we live in. So I'm appreciating it. However, if I work for a startup, does that give me a sense of lack of safety? Then I will justify it to myself saying that I joined a startup because I'll get to learn end to end. Whereas if I join a big company, I'll get boxed into one role and I will be only playing that role. So if I go there, am I going to learn everything? No, I'm going to learn everything about one thing. Right? So there's an advantage there, there's a disadvantage there. I become a specialist in that area over a long period of time. I'll ring fence my career, I protect myself. I go into a startup, I don't know if it will be there tomorrow or not.
I know.
But with the justification that I'm going to learn something end to end, which is not possible in a big company. But the upside of joining a startup is that it can become scale and become big, right? Now, each to their own. Now, it's an algorithm that individual has to develop for themselves. And how they ring fence themselves and protect themselves against whatever is happening in the world. It could be learning. It could be unlearning. It could be pursuing their passion. A lot of companies will not allow you to, right? If you go to the larger corporations, there's non-compete. You should not do another job while you're doing this job. All these things will come up. Now, let's say the person is working for a technology company but has interest in the food business. By the way, the employer can feel that that's a non-compete issue and can tell them not to pursue it. But if you're going to make food at home and serve it to your friends, nobody can stop that, right?
Correct.
So keep pursuing your passion and keep yourself in a happy state of mind.
Okay. It's not that don't think about so much. You can learn from
Yes.
anywhere.
Anywhere, yes. And those learnings plow back into your ability to do your job well.
Mm.
Because of which, organizations will always desire you to be employed with them.
That's what is called loyalty.
See, loyalty is, back in the day when it was 5 years average tenure, it was still loyalty to myself,
Yeah.
right?
And when you're associated for a shorter term also, it's being loyal when you're doing right to the organization.
Correct. But please know that to yourself, that you're doing right to the organization. See, we have to be self-aware, right?
Correct.
It's very important. When we look ourselves in the mirror, if you don't like what you're seeing, please change yourself.
Correct.
Broadly. But going back to the point on loyalty and the definition of loyalty, people want to metricize everything, no?
Mm.
But as an employer, am I able to give them a long-term career prospect?
Mm.
So obviously, employers are also worried now. If I go into a large organization, the other day somebody told me that one company cut off jobs because they applied AI. Some Swedish company, I'm sorry, I forgot the name. The other news that came was they called all of them back because their AI narrative failed. Right?
This is news. Yeah.
Yeah, there is a company that did that.
Okay.
But on the other hand, there is a company called Lovable,
Okay.
right? AI platform, no code platform, right? 3 years, $300 million, some $3 billion valuation. The numbers are there in public. So 3 years, right? We all know Telegram as an app, right?
Yeah.
It's a 50 people company, valued at multiples of billions.
Yes.
That's the world we live in.
So you can't predict things.
Correct. Which means, if you can't predict things, then why will Sri Lakshmi do a podcast with Raghav and waste her time? Right? And the viewers also will waste their time watching me talk about this. So, see, could I have predicted that I will be here when I started my career in 1995? No. Right? Could I have predicted all the negative experiences I have had in my life, which are at peaks, right? See, the vulnerability gets higher as you grow higher, right? Today there will be at least 1,000 people who will troll me for doing this podcast, right? Saying he kuch bhi bolta hai, he will talk big word. He's going to do whatever he wants. But the point is, we would have done it in a structured way. I can't go and explain this to everybody, unfortunately. But we will answer ourselves when we go home whether we have done our best.
Best or not.
Whether it's for 1.5 years or 5 years, law of averages doesn't work in this case. For me, the metric itself is wrong to define loyalty. Loyalty cannot be measured in years. I would have worked for 1 year, but I would have given more than what a person who's worked for 5 years has given.
Yes.
Right?
Correct.
So my 1 year is equal to 5 years.
Well said.
So for me, the metric itself is wrong. Short answer for whatever I've said so far is that the metric is wrong.
Correct.
It's no more about average of 1.5 years tenure being acceptable, or is 5 years acceptable. How relevant I have kept myself to be employed, and how my employer has given me opportunities to be, utilizing those skills of mine. That's going to be my bigger metric. I can be in a company, let's say I have a real estate company now. Let's say they have called me in and said, be our CHRO. Should I take up that opportunity? Given today's ageism, all that stuff that's happening, right? Should I take up that opportunity? I'm a guy who's worked in the IT sector, BPO sector, manufacturing sector. But if a real estate company comes and tells me I want to pick you up, what should I do?
If they give one plot to you, then you take.
Tenure doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But then, if I've applied to that real estate company and they say we are rejecting you because you don't have real estate experience, then what do I do?
You have to Talk to them. I mean, you have to explain them.
What about the fact that I have worked in this industry for so long? Why am I letting go of this and going there?
It's all your personal interest, right? That's
So loyalty is also that. I have given 5 years to the company, but the company is laying me off because the role is redundant.
correct.
Yeah. So the company is also not loyal to me.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to give a balanced approach, but I will look biased in favor of the employee, right? I might look that way. I don't know. If 250,000 people watch this podcast like they've done for you previously, imagine how many such scenarios are going to get played out.
Correct.
But the fact remains that as an HR professional, they have to understand business.
Yeah.
And put themselves in their shoes. Ensure that they're up to date on what's happening on the trends and utilize their time properly. If they're meeting a friend and talking about something, instead of talking about Gucci bags or whatever else, right? I have these shoes or whatever. Get into meaningful discussions. What's happening in your company? What's your attrition? How is it happening? Make friends with other HR folks. Have meaningful discussions. They're going to hate you for it. Because they also want to come and only, office lo kudala panchal, we have to talk these things in office. Now when we're hanging out and having food, we have to talk about this. Then they are the people you should not make friends with. Right?
Correct.
Make friends with people who are as interested in their jobs and careers as you are.
Then you'll definitely flourish.
And you'll help them also flourish. No, that's when it becomes, networking and networking with an intent and collaborating and finding things out. Then you talk, hey, I have this problem. How do I solve it? Talk to a person who's more experienced than you and talk about it, right? I have my industry mentor who's much older to me. And it didn't happen because I want to have a mentor. Again, science, we all want to think scientifically. But this thing happened very inorganically for me. My choice of mentor happened without actually a process. Right? But I was open. I wanted a mentor and I found. Right? So I should be open to information coming. I should desire it. So that's the second thing. The third thing is, hey, please enhance your capabilities in data. Because the insights are already generated by the system. Decisions are also recommended.
Correct.
But what am I doing with it? How am I utilizing it for the benefit of the organization? How am I using it for my own benefit? Right? Because I'm equipped with the data, the next company also will be willing to employ me. The next manager will like me for it. And I make meaningful conversations out of it. From an employee perspective, as an HR person, I go and find out what they're talking about even before they are asking about it. What did I do practically for it? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Not even giving a rating, that's a big metric. The fact that somebody doesn't even care about expressing themselves.
Nice.
So data, systems, networking, how, having my own interest in mind, being invested in it, time, effort, emotion, and then understanding business, putting ourselves in their shoes. That's how empathy is developed scientifically. And that's my opinion.
Thank you. I think a lot of insights we spoke about HR role, jobs, and all that.
But if I were to summarize a few things, right? I mean, when you spoke about performance management, it doesn't happen only once in a year, right? I have to do that every day for myself. Forget about whether my company does it for me or not. When I walk into my company this morning and I walk out in the evening and I walk out tomorrow morning, what am I doing in this time? How am I making it meaningful for myself?
This is very, very valid point.
Yeah. And then it doesn't matter what hike I will get. That anyway is limited, right? The budgets are limited. I mean, let's not
overthink on it.
If there is a hike, God bless you. If there's a redundancy, please prepare emotionally and mentally for it. Don't go and take it out on others, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's easy. You can do that, but please prepare yourself because that's how the world is. Those cycles have crunched, right? It's no more 5 years and then we'll think about it. We don't even know tomorrow. So that unpredictability is something we'll have to deal with. Dealing with ambiguity, dealing with lack of clarity has always been the case. When I got my first job, the employment market was not this, no? There were no jobs in the market in that year. I was only lucky. I mean, maybe my mom's prayers, maybe my mother's blessings for me, right? But the fact remains that we were true to ourselves and we were interested in doing something in our lives. That remains the same from then to today. What's different is there are opportunities. It's just a matter of being prepared for it, and I spoke about how to do it. So performance management is one aspect. Lack of how to overcome subjectivity using systems, but how to use the data on a daily basis and not wait for the year end. But how we answer ourselves. That was one very important topic you brought about.
Yes.
Another important topic you brought about is in today's AI world, how is an HR professional going to view themselves? What are they supposed to do to be able to continue employment? Either get employment or continue employment.
Correct.
I provided insights on how I feel the ones who are looking for employment for the first time in their life have to work on it. I spoke about how the experienced folks who already have a job, how are they going to upskill? Those three things that I spoke about. And lastly, you said, hey, loyalty being measured in terms of 5 years, 1.5 years. I said that metric itself is wrong. Loyalty, let's be practical. Loyalty is loyalty to myself first. If somebody comes and tells me, no, I'm loyal to my company first, I'm going to say, buddy, don't fool around with me, right? I know what you're talking about, right? And if somebody believes that, then I'll say, please get out of that bubble. The earlier you get out of it, the better.
Correct.
And let them do that. Allow people to be loyal to themselves, because that is what will bring the best out of them.
Correct.
And then you don't measure it by 1 year or 5 years, because even 5 years might not be enough, and you probably don't have a 5-year runway as an employer.
Correct.
So be practical about it. Make sure that you treat them with respect. How do you build empathy into the system? And then use that information for the benefit of yourself, your manager, your organization, in the entire system. So this is how I would summarize this entire discussion. The vulnerabilities are extremely high. As you grow higher, they become even more intense. Like I said, today there might be one person out there who will say Raghav was responsible for something that I did not desire, and they're going to say, oh my God, this guy is coming and sermonizing. My response to them will be, hey, you can't take 30 years of work away from me. You can't take away what I've learned in my life, right? I'm sorry you have to face it, but yes, that's the reality. You're not the only one who's facing it. So please don't make it, again, get out of that victim mode.
Correct.
Right? Get into that zone where you're prepared. And I talked about how you prepare. That's how I summarize it, but have I captured everything that you desired in this podcast?
Yes, definitely.
No.
Thank you, Raghav.
No,
for
totally
being
my
on the
pleasure.
show.
No, I must say thank you, because it's so well organized, and you're all set for it even before I reached here. And thank you for thinking it worthwhile to call me here.
Thank you.
and
Thank you
do
so
it.
much. Yes, indeed.
Have a good one.
Thank
Alrighty.
you.